Former Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, Rigathi Gachagua, aka Wamunyoro, returns to the country on Monday from a tour of the United States of America. And it is widely expected that immediately he lands at the JKIA airport in Nairobi, he will be arrested by authorities. On my show today, we're going to take a very close look at the possible consequences of a Rigathi Gachagua arrest. Okay? Now, I've also produced a special report, very highly sensitive, giving the real reason as to why Rigathi Gachagua is being arrested. Okay? However, on my show today, we will look at other reasons why he's being arrested. Super fascinating stuff. It really doesn't matter whether you like him or hate him. But that will not make a difference. It will not impact the possible consequences of a Rigathi Gachagua arrest. And even more interesting, the possible consequences of a failed attempt to arrest Rigathi Gachagua immediately he lands back into the country. Karibu sana to my show today. Moto kuliko pasi ya makaa. Oh yes. Karibu sana. And without taking any more of your valuable time, twende kazi. Now, Rigathi Gachagua's trip to the US was not very clear. When he got onto an aircraft and went to the land of Uncle Sam. There were some people who were saying he is going to campaign amongst the very influential and indeed increasingly influential part of the electorate, Kenyans in the diaspora. However, it is now emerging that actually the main reason why Rigathi Gachagua went to the United States of America, this is crazy. The main reason he went was to give evidence against President William Samoei Ruto to the American Senate. You see, it is not a secret that the American Senate is investigating the Kenyan president. I don't remember any other time in our history, unless you correct me, that a Kenyan president has been under investigation by the American Senate. Of course, the Kenyan government is trying to deny this by using kizungu mingi, by trying to change the narrative, but that is the truth. And so Rigathi Gachagua has been assisting with information. Now, for those who are close observers of international politics, you already know what this means. When you have a powerful political organ in the West, like the Senate, investigating an African leader, you know what it means. It means that they want that leader gone. They want that leader out. Okay? That should be rather obvious. So this is what Rigathi Gachagua has been doing in the US. That was his main objective. I believe that is now clear. My apologies to Rigathi Gachagua supporters, who I'm short of the emotions may not agree. But on this channel we only deal with the facts. The cold, hard facts. Okay? Devoid of emotion. Now, we also need to acknowledge that before Rigathi Gachagua and his handlers got into this arrangement with the Americans, they must have discussed the finer details. And they must have also discussed the possible consequences. Because I believe, even then, it would have been very obvious to both parties that the Kenyan government was not going to react nicely to this particular move. And therefore, they must have taken some steps to protect both parties. I'm sure you get my meaning. And therefore it will be very fascinating and very interesting to see if this threatened arrest of Gachagua actually takes place. Okay? Successfully. Okay? That will be very interesting to take a look at. Especially because, and this is too sensitive to share here, especially because of the motives behind the scenes, the motives of the very powerful, okay, and of course the motives of this government to defend itself, okay. But for this show today, please allow me to focus on the local possible consequences. Now, unfortunately, if something like that is going to happen, it is happening at a very wrong time in Kenya. Why? Because of the tension in the country, the emotions in the country, the pure hatred against this regime that is in the air in the country. Okay? And therefore, it is quite possible, even an attempt to arrest Rigathi Gachagua could very easily go south and cause chaos in Nairobi and maybe countrywide. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not mainly because of Rigathi Gachagua's popularity. The man is fairly popular, but it will not happen because of his popularity. It will happen because of the mood, the anger in the country. Let me give you just a very simple example, because we're dealing with human nature here. Let me give you a very simple example to illustrate what I'm trying to say. A woman decides she's leaving her husband. Okay? She has already made that decision. And so she waits for an opportunity. And the opportunity comes because she knows every Friday the man goes out and gets very drunk and comes home very late. She waits for that Friday. And the minute her husband comes back, she starts screaming in the house. Claiming that she has been beaten, causing chaos. What has happened is that she has just looked for the right opportunity to do what she wants. She already knows what she wants to do. And she's just waiting for the opportunity, the thing which she'll use to do what she wants to do. That is where Kenyans are right now. And arresting Gachagua, or attempting to arrest Gachagua, will be an opportunity for Kenyans to vent their emotions. And it could turn out to be very, very ugly. Okay? And to make matters worse, knowing Gachagua and his character, when he comes back into the country, in my opinion, he is going to do everything to provoke the government. And of course, we all know that this government of William Samoei Ruto does not take things lying down. Definitely they are going to respond. Definitely watake aibu ndogo ndogo, they are going to do something. And therefore, anything can happen on Monday. And I mean anything. So Kenyans need to brace themselves for any eventuality. Of course, it is quite possible that Rigathi Gachagua could jet back into the country, come out of the airport, and go home peacefully. And nothing happens. That is very possible. Because remember, there are very many extremely powerful people behind the scenes pulling the strings. Okay? And you see, powerful people can do virtually anything. And therefore it is possible that chini ya maji, the moves can be made, the strings can be pulled, and the guy just lands so peacefully. We start wondering what all the fuss was about. That one is also a possibility. However, going forward, we can be sure of one thing, and very sure of it. Hii maneno ya Rigathi Gachagua haijaisha. It is not over, and it is not ending soon. That one we can be very, very sure of. Now I've produced a highly sensitive special report giving the details of the identity of the people pushing things behind the scenes. And very important, because nobody has covered this, very important, what their real motive is, what they want, and why they are behaving the way they are. And you'll not believe this, but there is evidence, very clear evidence, from our neighboring countries. Oh yes, now you can see details on your screens right now. For only Kenya shillings 2,999 only, you can get this highly sensitive special report. And please, when you receive it, please do not share it. Please. Okay? You can get some information, and by your assessment, it is nothing. This is not sensitive. By your assessment. But you see, you're assessing all this from a position where there's a lot of information you do not have. Okay? And therefore you're not in a position to make an accurate judgment. So please trust my judgment. This is very highly sensitive information. And please don't forget to text your email address after payment to the same M-Pesa number, or even to send a blank email for quick service. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.